To Historical Geology Online at New Mexico Junior College. This is going to be a brief introduction to the course as well as the first week's lessons. So let's begin by entering into your modules page. Every modules page at New Mexico Junior College has a course information section. This will contain your syllabus and your course schedule, along with other materials that may be important to the course that you should familiarize yourself with. Going down from there, we have our Module 0. This will be our first week's lessons. In this module, you'll have a set of lessons that are designed to help familiarize the student with the Canvas course and also to identify any types of issues we may have between Canvas and your personal computers. So it is important that you complete all of these assignments. Another note about these assignments is that from one class to another, they may have the same title for a lesson, but each lesson might be slightly different in the instructions from class to class. So it's important for all of your classes that you read the instructions carefully and follow the instructions given by your particular instructor. You'll also note in here that in the first week, you have your contact information due on that following Friday or on that Friday of that week. This will be a very quick assignment, but should be completed before the weekend. Going down from there, you'll see that in that following week, you have your first lesson related to your books. You have here a PowerPoint presentation to assist you. You will also have information about the objectives, outline, and summary of your textbook itself, the geologic timescale, and then your first lesson. This lesson is for Chapter 1 homework. You'll be reading your Chapter 1 in your textbook. Then you'll also, from this page, click in and find that there is a file to download that contains a series of questions related to your reading. When you have completed those questions and had the answers to all those questions, then you may return to this system, this Canvas system, and click into the quiz and enter your answers. The quiz has the same questions as the file that you downloaded. This is just a place to upload your homework answers. It's not a true quiz. You're given the questions in advance. Going down from there, you'll also see that you have your labs due each week. There are two links for the labs. The first one contains the instructions for the lab, a file to download so you can see how your answers from your lab manual that you purchased from the NMJC bookstore, how those answers from that lab will be entered into the system, and then also an instructional video to get you started in the lab. At any time, if you have problems or questions with either the homework or the labs, you should be in contact with your instructor. Also in here is a link to a couple of lessons that are going to come due later in the semester, but that you should start looking at right away so that you can start preparing yourself and working on these a little bit each week to be prepared when they come due. So one is a professional journal article. You'll be doing a critique on a journal, and you're going to go out and find a journal. This has instructions on the particular guidelines for that journal and what's required to be in that journal to be accepted for the lesson. If you need assistance with this, please contact your instructor. Going down from there, you also have a problem solution assignment. You should familiarize yourself with the instructions and the lesson itself and start working a little bit at a time on it each week up until the point when it's due. Remember, it's worth 200 points, so it's worth more than your other lessons, so it's important you start it early. All right, now, as we come down, you'll see Chapter 2. It's the same thing, homeworks and your lab assignment. It also has a How Does Geology Affect Your Everyday Lives discussion board posting. This class, you only have 2 discussion board postings. This is one. The other was your introduction in week 1. So you'll only have 2 of those to complete in this course. But you should take your time, think about this, and work on it, right? Once you've completed this assignment and you've posted your discussion, you'll also be required to respond to a few of your classmates' responses as part of your grade. So please be sure you read those instructions carefully as well. Now, in addition to those, you'll have 4 chapter exams to complete. If we scroll down a little bit further, we'll see down here in the module, as we come down, after you've completed your chapters 4 and 5 homework, that's when your first chapter exam will come open. In these modules, you'll see that you have a set of review questions and terms that you should work on and complete and prepare before you try to take the exam so that you're familiar with what will be in the exam. The exam itself will open on a Wednesday and close on the following Wednesday. That means you have 8 days for each chapter exam to complete it. You also will have 2 lessons or 2 practical exams that go along with your lab. So there'll be 2 lessons or tests that go with your lab. The first one will be your rock and mineral practical. Up here you'll see that there's a study guide for this rock and mineral practical. You should prepare yourself. You should familiarize yourself with your sedimentary rocks and your minerals that come in your lab kit, because you'll be tested on those here in the actual exam. Instructions on that are given here. If you'd like further information or if you have questions about it, please contact your instructor. You will also have a practical exam that'll come near the end of the semester that is related to your fossil identification. So this goes with your box of fossils. You'll learn and be able to identify your fossils as well. With this one, it also has a study guide that has a set of questions that may be asked on the practical, as well as a listing of all the fossils that you should be familiar with on site. If you were to look at them or shown a picture of them and given a description, you should be able to identify them. And lastly, of course, at the end of the semester, there'll be your final exam. You should take a moment to look at some of the instructions. If you click under the final exam, if you click under there, you'll see that there are some requirements and some instructions. If you're within driving distance of NMJC, you'll be taking your final exam in the testing center. If you're not within driving distance of NMJC, you have 2 additional options as a possibility. So please read these instructions and familiarize yourself with them. Okay, that completes the introduction to the course. If you have any questions, please contact your instructor.